Tonight, we have agendas just filling up movies. And we have a couple of intriguing films coming from overseas. Plus, I have the opportunity for you to add to your home video library once again. All that and a whole lot more. A cinematic class is about to begin. Your professor is in. Greetings, salutations, and other sundry affair. I am your cinematic professor and purveyor of truth in movies. And before we get started tonight, let's take a little pause to thank our promo partners here, including House of Feruza, Barbershop, and Cigar Lounge. There's an awful lot of things going on with Sam and the boys down there. I'll tell you a little bit about that later on in the show. Also, I want to tell you about, we really had a controversial subject come up with Jurassic World Dominion. Now, the thing was so controversial that YouTube would not air the video, and I had to swing it over to the Rumble site. Rumble has no qualms or trepidations about such things. So I'll tell you a little bit more about that in the show as well. Plus, stay tuned because I have some exciting news coming up about the official Outtakes with Rex Reel podcast, which will be coming to you very, very soon. But for now, let's get the show started. Saban Films is offering a glimpse at what would happen if the government opted to act on its domestic terrorist threats. Those threats are actually political tactics, as we know, but Operation Patriot, you see, is tasked with rounding up domestic terrorists and putting them in safe houses until their expulsion or their execution. Now, this actually sounds like something that might come out of today's headlines under the Biden regime, but actually the film was originally made against the Trump regime. It wrapped 1 month before the COVID lockdowns began, and it's taken this long to get the movie out. I'm talking about Deep in the Forest. Now, while it was apparent that this was written and produced and supposedly released at a time when people were all worried about the bad orange man, you can see now that some almost 2 years later, the narrative has remained the same, but it has totally flipped into the whole new administration. Kind of interesting that it's doing the opposite of its stated intent. This is very much like a kangaroo court currently being held on the January 6th riot. This movie stars Ursula Brooks, Derwin Jordan, P.J. Oakland, and Stuart Pankin, who I haven't seen in ages, shows up in this as well. As the film runs into political deep waters, it actually transforms into the lifeboat exercise. Remember that from your days of high school? Who would you toss out of the lifeboat? Yeah. Here's a look at Deep in the Forest.
There's been a bomb in the Capitol building.
The government has been making lists. Names of progressive journalists, activists.
You're under arrest by order of the United States government.
Mommy, I'm scared.
Mass deportation. The suppression of the free press. The government is normalizing fascism. State-sanctioned hate crime.
I've even heard that the government is building detention camps.
There's armed conflicts happening across the entire country.
It's not just guerrilla raids. We're talking full-blown civil war.
How long can we stay here?
Food's not coming to us.
The gun stays with me.
Who put you in charge?
Somebody's got to man up.
This Listen to yourself.
It's not who we are.
Maybe it's who we have to be.
Don't move!
Amy! Stop!
You know, folks, it's a sad commentary, but you can never give progressives what they ask for, because if you do, they will demand more. It's never enough. GLAAD is the prominent alternative lifestyle proponents in Hollywood, while studios like Disney are bending over backwards, and you'll pardon the pun on that, to appease this group. It isn't appreciated ever. They are constantly clamoring for more. Case in point is the latest script which has come out, and GLAAD claims if no major studio picks this up, well, then it shows that they're racist and sexist and every other kind of is that exists. The script was penned by Jet Garrison. It's about a woman who was ousted from the military back in 1992 because she is queer. And she is taken in by two queer guys who run a country western bar. Well, we're not breaking any stereotypes there, are we? The agendas are just flowing. Now, I know when I woke up this morning, as I'm sure you did too, the first thing you thought of was this plot, and you said, boy, Hollywood should make this kind of movie. If the studios pick up the project, GLAAD will certainly demand more. They will not be satiated. You always will have more of what you tolerate, and this is just another example. You know, if Lenexi Films has any say at all, the Prey Legend of Carnoctus will become a series. The film ends with the graphic "to be continued," and that teases cameo appearances in the beginning of the movie by Danny Trejo and Adrian Paul, and it hints that their characters, their roles, will be extended in the second film. This could be kind of interesting because in one scene, Adrian Paul actually, you see his sword from the TV series Highlander. So he has his Highlander sword. Carnoctus is a multicolored carpet with flashing eyes and very large teeth that makes clicking sounds and sees in infrared, much like a predator. He is played by Mingyu Chu. Also starring in this movie are Nick Chicklin, Kevin Griveau, Justin Arnold, and Matt Musgrove. Now, that name might sound familiar. That's because he is the very big black man with a deep, deep voice. Whoa, what a voice he has. He plays the werewolf in the Underworld series. Yeah, you know who I'm talking about now. Okay. There's a group of mercenaries, and they rob gold from the Taliban. Unfortunately, the cave that they hide their gold in is where the Carnoctus lives. If they do make a second movie of this, it'll be good to see Adrian Paul again. If you remember, long before they picked Daniel Craig to play Bond, I had suggested that Adrian Paul would make a good Bond. In fact, I still think he would have been better than Daniel Craig. Here is a look now at The Prey, the Legend of Carnoctus.
Looks like mine's bigger.
Fire!
This was your big plan, huh? I thought you said they were gonna surrender.
I said they'd likely surrender.
Yeah, well, they're definitely not.
My bad.
Guys? We found the footprint of some kind of animal.
No, whatever it is, it's big.
Vega refused to go inside the cave. Said there was some demon or beast that dwelt inside. Something the locals call Carnoctus.
What's going on, man?
There are several different things, especially if you like dinosaurs, to watch. And Disney, once again, is soaking you in the Star Wars department. I got a whole lot more to talk to you about when Outtakes with Rex Reel returns. You know, there's always something exciting going on at the House of Fairuza Barbershop and Cigar Lounge, and that's why I'm happy to have them as one of our sponsors here on Outtakes with Rex Reel. I'd like to tell you about their next outing, which occurs in July, but folks, it's already sold out. So before I even had a chance to tell you about their golf outing, tickets are gone already. That's how fat, you owe it to yourself to go down there, enjoy some good quality man time in the lounge, and then also stop in and have Sam make you look like you're styling and profiling. And I got to tell you, they have a lot of really unique products that you're not going to find anywhere else, like on the shelf of Walmart or someplace like that. A lot of them are locally made, and they are very good. I'm wearing about 2 or 3 of them right now. So it's the House of Fairuza Barbershop and Cigar Lounge. Don't let a week go by without finding out what's going on. Give Sam a call. They're located at the corner of Drake Road and South Park Road, and they are a proud sponsor of the show. They support us. Won't you support them? Welcome back to the show. Nice to be with you. I'll tell you what, Disney has absolutely no shame. I'm not talking about their political battles right now. I'm talking about their ability to soak the public. They have another spin-off that serves basically as a sponge, especially for the people who are into the Star Wars saga and just kind of soak up all that dollars out of your pocket because of their streaming franchise. I'm talking, of course, about Obi-Wan. All the big stars are back in this. Hayden Christensen, and they even have James Earl Jones doing the Vader voice and what have you. But most of those stars are basically in supporting roles. Well, what's happened here is that Disney has turned the entire series over to a group of women, and as such, the scripts for this show are just oozing with estrogen because most of these women have an agenda they need to promote, and they have inserted it into the Star Wars saga. Is that necessarily a bad thing? Maybe not, but what about the canon? Therein lies the rub. Forget about the canon, because when you have an agenda to preach and you're concerned about all of these feelings, well, then the Star Wars canon continuity can be totally irrelevant, and it is in this series, and that is a detriment. Here's a look at Obi-Wan.
They're coming. Stay hidden, or we will not survive.
Leave us alone.
When the time comes, he must be trained.
Like you trained his father? You still want Kenobi. He's gone.
Maybe you've been looking in the wrong places. I want every lowlife and bounty hunter to squeeze him. You can't run, Obi-Wan! You can't escape him!
Say our friends at Dark Star Pictures are presenting a French film which features a German family whose little boy has a pet rat. Okay, if that all sounds weird, diverse at least, it is nothing like the film. Folks, it took a half an hour to set up the story. And as Sid Field says, you should do that within the first 10 minutes. Primarily due to very long shots and a plethora of wasted sequences. Now, after the setup, which again takes about 30 minutes, the film enveloped a decidedly pro-homosexual motif. Once this entered, I managed about 12 more minutes of the film, and then, frankly, I couldn't take it anymore, and I shut it off. It was boring before they inserted the agenda, and then afterwards, it was just boring and queer. I couldn't do it. Now, you folks out there, you may be a little bit more tolerant than I am, and you may be able to get through 42 minutes or more. So here's a look at human factors.
War doch eine gute Idee, herzukommen.
Ja, klar. Il y avait quelqu'un. Ils sont descendus l'escalier.
Hé? Y a quelqu'un?
Peut-être que quelqu'un veut nous faire peur.
Ici? Ça m'étonnerait.
Wenn Papa sich nicht versteckt hätte, hätten ihn die Einbrecher auch verprügelt.
Was?
Warum hast du es mir nicht gesagt?
Lüg mich bitte nicht an, ja?
Ihr seid die Lügner!
Ça va entre vous deux? Was ist hier los? Was ist das?
Willst du mir jetzt sagen, ich habe mir das nur eingebildet?
Max? Max, das ist jetzt nicht mehr lustig.
So let's talk dinosaurs and Jurassic World Dominion, wrapping up the second trilogy and the Jurassic Park franchise, if you will. I had a lot of fun in this movie. There's a lot of dinosaurs in it. But you know, they couldn't leave well enough alone. They couldn't just have a lot of dinosaurs in it. They had to stick an agenda. And as soon as they stuck in the agenda, they went all the way back to the first movie and then tried to drag all 6 movies through the same agenda. Well, you know, normal people might not pay attention to these things, but hey, that's why I am the purveyor of truth in movies. And I wrote a rather scathing commentary about how this was definitely wrong for Universal Studios to go down. In fact, I think promoting the movie in this fashion is what really hurt it at the box office, because it's doing well, but Top Gun is still beating it out, and I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing or not. Anyway, the commentary that I wrote is a Rumble exclusive, and here is the URL for you. You owe it to yourself to go on there and see some of the shenanigans that went on behind the scenes to get this movie out and to make it so that it was very PC. You know, when you go to Jurassic Park or Jurassic World, you want to see dinosaurs. No one cares about any agendas. And I tell you how that all happened in that commentary. It's an exclusive on Rumble. Be sure to check it out today. Mondocane, which means Dog World, is an Italian film which is shot around Puglisi and Rome. and director of photography Giuseppe Maio really has captured the settings well. It's really nice to look at these scenes. It comes from the creative minds of Alessandro Celli and the folks at Kino Lorber. What's happened is industrial conglomerates who are backed by a military police force now rule the world. Sounds a little bit like the original Rollerball with James Caan, does it not? There are a small pocket of people who are attempting to eke out a rather meager existence in the shadows. And they do this through criminal enterprises largely on the backs of young children. Now, the story involves two friends whose friendship and ideals are tested by a young girl who is recruited. It's kind of a Mad Fagin type tale where the crime world revolves on the backs of children, but they present still a rather altruistic value. It's not a bad story, really, but it's probably about a half an hour too long. Outside of that, I think you'll enjoy watching this. Mondochane features Giuseppe Bisciccio, Valerio Volpe, Mattia Matera, and Andranio Novelli. Here's a look.
Ti devo dire una cosa.
Che cosa?
Mi hanno offerto di fare un lavoro.
Chi?
Le formiche.
Ma questo è un colpo di culo vero.
Attacca!
Sai che poi non si torna indietro.
Trovatemi la cassaforte.
Sabrina, piacere.
Pietro.
Mi devi dire qualcosa?
Le formiche non devono avere proprietà.
E le armi?
E le moto. Le armi e le moto. Calmo, calmo.
Che Mondocane non ha sparato. Stai attento all'amico tuo, che ti porta giù.
Sei una formica, sei un assassino!
Qua non ci dovevamo mettere piede. Siamo formiche, te ne sei sicuro?
Parla piano. Che fai adesso? Mi spari?
I have even more dinosaurs to tell you about when Outtakes with Rick's Reel continues right after this. Say, the folks at Wellgo USA have certainly thrown their support behind Outtakes with Rick's Reel, and I've been able to provide you opportunities to add to your home video collection over the last several months, and I have that opportunity once again. This one's a little bit different, coming to you from the world of martial. You know, for a good number of years, Donnie Yen based his career on playing the character Ip Man, and a series of movies with some really epic martial arts. Well, Donnie Yen is getting a little up there in age, and he's cut back an awful lot on his filmmaking and what have you. But Ip Man is still certainly a Chinese legend, and that is why we have a whole new, a reboot, if you will, in Ip Man: The Awakening. And this is what I'm going to allow you to add to your home video collection. It's still the story of Ip Man, but in The Awakening, we go back to his origins, back to the roots, and we have a brand new star playing the iconic character. You can add this film in Blu-ray style to your home video collection. Simply drop me a line at filmcritic3@verizon.net, and in the subject line, put Ip Man. Okay, there it is. I have a limited number of these to give away, and if you're one of the first people to send me the email, I will send a copy of this to you in the mail. This is limited to the continental United States, so sorry for you folks that are watching overseas. Can't help you there, all right? Add this to your home video collection. This is a good one. There's a lot of good fight scenes in this too. Well, they have Donnie Yen set a very high bar, and these folks certainly try to jump over that bar as best they can. Ip Man, The Awakening. It can belong to you. Send me your name and return address to filmcritic3@verizon.net, and in the subject line put Ip Man, and I will send one of these right to you. Welcome back to the show. Told you I had some more dinosaurs to tell you about, and that is the TV series Prehistoric Planet. Now, you've heard of the Blue Planet, the Frozen Planet, the Wild Planet. They're all good series. This one is the Prehistoric Planet, and again, David Attenborough is the narrator. Yeah, he's a nice guy. He's an old guy. He's a nice guy. But I'll tell you what, his voice is... it's a little bit too melodic, and if you let it, it'll put you off to sleep. And then you'll have to rewind the TV show and watch it over again. Many of the stories that are presented in this series seem to be a little bit fanciful, and I think there's a lot of stretching going on by what the archaeologists and paleontologists have found in the fossils. And really, to be honest with you, I think they're putting in the script too many human characteristics into the dinosaurs. I think, isn't that called onomatopoeia when they do that? Dave doesn't know. I think that's what it's called. I don't know. You can check me on that. The CG in this TV series is just as good as it is in Jurassic World Dominion, but it is dominated, you'll notice, by the Chinese version of the dinosaurs. I guess we can understand that, especially when you look at the source of funding for the program. It's a whole lot of fun, just so you can keep your eyes open as David Attenborough kind of lulls you into sleep with his narration. Say, I wish we had more time to talk about things, but we are fresh out of time. On the next show, I'll tell you how the god of lightning turns into a feminist. Buzz Lightyear is going queer, and you only find out about these things because I am the purveyor of truth in movies. Don't forget, filmcritic3@verizon.net. Send me your name and return address, and I can send you a copy of Ip Man, The Awakening. Now that you have learned what you have learned, here endeth your lesson.